And welcome to a Greater You show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. And I'm your host here, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. Again, this is a Greater You show, self-help show, self-help book club, self-help coaching session, all kind of wrapped into one. And so before I get started with this, promote some people. And if you'd like to get promoted on the show or any of the shows I do here on IntellectualRadio.com, you can definitely get in contact with me at fullerpurposemedia@gmail.com. That's fullerpurposemedia@gmail.com. So let's see what we can do here to promote a few people here today. First person we're going to promote is Miss Pamela Denise, and she's a real estate professional. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, an investor looking to build your portfolio, or you're purchasing your dream home, Pamela Denise at Exception Realty is who you need to call. She has 24 years of experience and a team that is ready, willing, and very capable to assist in all of your real estate needs. You'll also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about Pamela Denise here on a Greater Youth show that's here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. For more information, contact Ms. Pamela Denise at 773-447-8546. That's 773-447-8546 or info@keepitmoving.us. That's info at KEEP as in Paul, IT as in Tom, MOV as in Victor, ING as in great, .us. The next person we're going to promote is Mr. Timothy Wright, and he has an online school to help people get the GED. So do you or someone you know need to obtain their high school diploma? Living Free Center can help with their online high school education. You can attain your high school diploma for as little as $217.63. You'll also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about the school and also Mr. Wright here on a Greater Youth show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. For more information, you can contact Mr. Timothy Wright at either 813-559-0014. That's 813-559-0014 or 773-499-6941. 773-499-6941 or 773-531-6246. Again, that's 773-531-6246. Or you can email livingfreecenter@outlook.com, or you can go to www.livingfreecenter.org. And another person we're going to promote is Ms. Sonia Perdue. She's an insurance professional. And will your insurance company pay you 70 to 90% of your policy's face value if you experience qualifying terminal, chronic, or critical illness or critical injury? If not, get started with Living Benefits now. Benefits today. Contact Ms. Sonia Perdue at 773-609-2226. That's 773-609-2226 or www.getstartedwithlivingbenefits.com. You'll also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about her and her business here on a Greater Youth show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. And this is a publisher, Mr. Eugene Delanado, and he's the publisher of the Black Pages International magazine. Exercise your power, circulate your money in Black business, create jobs for your children, create a healthy, happy, and wealthy community. Go to blackpagesinternational.com. Black Pages International is a directory of hundreds of Black businesses and professionals where you can locate professionals and businesses for whatever you need. If you are looking to support Black businesses, go to blackpagesinternational.com. You can contact Mr. Eugene Delanado at 773-407-1470. There's also opportunities to advertise your business in the directory as well. You also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about him and his business here on a Greater Youth show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt, as well. So Again, if you'd like to get promoted on the show, get in contact with me at Full of Purpose Media, and we'll see what we can do. See if what your product or business has fit what my show is, and if my show fit what you do, then we can definitely talk about it. So give those people a call, or email, to go check them out and get you some assistance in those areas, or someone that need help in those areas, please direct them to those people. So let's get into the program here. So again, we're here at the we're here at a Greater You show. Again, if you're new to me or new to IntellectualRadio.com, this is a self-help show. And it's to help you become a better person, help you become a greater you. And that's why it's called a greater you, to help you with self-help skills, so to speak, to help you get better in areas. And you do that a little bit over time, and you try to do them as often as possible. So this particular series, we're talking about conquering procrastination. One of my favorite topics, because I think everyone is a recovering procrastinator, and so am I. So I know that how tough it is to get things done, and I know how easy it is to put things off. And some people, they've been diligent all their life, and that's wonderful. That hasn't been my story, and I know just dealing with a lot of people is not always their story either. So this is every time we come from a series, what it's based on, the book that I've written or in the process of writing. So it's something based on that. So this month is based on the book Moving My Life, on this particular series, and this is part 4. So this is How to Conquer Procrastination, part 4. So this is, this obviously we talked 3 other parts. So this is our 4th part to this series. So let me just do a recap. Again, if you're new to me or new to IntellectualRadio.com, I always do a recap of the previous shows just to catch you up to speed. And keep in mind that our shows, all of our shows are recorded, so you can look at them at any time you want. And, before I can go any further, if you're looking at me now, and if you haven't done this already, go to IntellectualRadio.com on YouTube and then hit the subscribe button, as well as hit the bell so you can be notified of all the shows we have going on. Hit the like button too on the show, to let me know you like it. I guess I don't really want to know if you didn't like it, but you let me know if you like it, right? But but we have a lot of shows here Sunday through Saturday, mornings, afternoons, and evenings. A lot of great hosts, a lot of great topics. We have business shows like business shows. We have self-help shows like this one. We have a lot of coaches that do shows. We even have religious shows. We have spirituality shows. We have entertainment shows, financial shows, relationship shows, all type of shows. And I'm sure you can find 4 or 5 different hosts and shows that you probably want to follow on a weekly basis. And we have shows that dated back for at least a decade. So you can go back and through IntellectualRadio.com and you can go through shows. If you know the name of the host or know the name of the show, you can go back there and you can find some of their older shows as well. So please do that. And if you have done it already, thank you. If you haven't, if you have done it and know some people that may benefit from some of the shows we have here, we'd love for you to point them towards IntellectualRadio.com. So let me go further. So as we get into the show, we are doing this on conquering procrastination. So let me just do a small recap on some of the things that we went over thus far. And we talked about what conquering procrastination is, and that, the purpose of actually, if we're not progressing in our lives, we're probably procrastinating. And I believe that all of us are recovering procrastinators. I know for myself that I'm a recovering procrastinator. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that procrastination is so close to you, it's a minute away. We put things off all the time. We don't mean to. And sometimes we do pretty well in life, right? We might be going in a certain direction and doing pretty good, but then sometimes we put things off. You may be doing really good with your finances, but you might put something off in your health. How come you didn't exercise yesterday? How come you didn't drink enough water yesterday? It was you planned on doing it, but you just kind of put it off. And that's because procrastination is just that close to you. It's just that close to me. It's just that close to all of us. Because we're putting things off pretty much sometimes subconsciously all throughout the day. And next thing you know, we look up and then we get, we got this emergency that takes place. And now we're trying to get all this stuff done in record-breaking time because of the fact that we procrastinated yesterday when we had time to do what we could do or should do at the time. And we didn't do it. So that's why I said that we all are recovering procrastinators, because every day we get up, we have the opportunity to do some things, and hopefully we are diligent with that and we get those done. So that's some of the things we talked about in part 1. And we also talked about how the word procrastination, PRO, means forward. Procrastinate means tomorrow. And so when you put the word together, it's putting off things till tomorrow, right? Putting it forward, because tomorrow is always before you, right? Tomorrow is never behind you. And that's what we call the past, yesterday. But as long as it's tomorrow, procrastination will always have you put off the things you can do and should do until tomorrow. And then it always get in the way of something that we have to do tomorrow when tomorrow shows up and become today. So that's where we came from lesson one in the part one. Part two, we came from lesson four. And we talked about how it's okay to move your life at the same time that one thing. Part one. Part two, we came from lesson four. And we talked about how it's okay to move your life at the same time that one thing about your life that you and I should be accomplishing things on while we're alive. All of us won't get the same time to live. Some of us will get 20 years. Some of us get 90. Some of us get 50. Some of us get, 80, right? So we all get different times, but we all have enough time to accomplish things in our life. And the word accomplish is broken up this way. AC means to, and accomplish means complete. So to complete. So we should actually complete some things. And your life is like a stadium with all these seats in it. Every time you accomplish something, you got another fan in the stands, so to speak. And sometimes we don't accomplish very many things. We got like 5 fans in the stand. We've been living 60 years. You understand? So, got all these empty chairs because we haven't accomplished very much. And what that proves is that we probably procrastinated a whole lot. So that's some of the things we talked about in part two. Part three, we came from lesson 8. Yeah, we came from lesson 8, and we talked about how you had to move your life forward and how you had to always put something. Procrastination is always putting something before now. I used the example of do it now. And what I realized, I had to start saying now do it because procrastination always had something before now. And even though do it now is a good slogan, is a good motivator, it just wasn't good enough for me. I had to kind of switch the words out and put now do it because procrastination can't stand up to now and procrastination can't stand up to the word today. So those are some of the things we went over. So today we're going to come from lesson 11 from the book. And we're going to talk about one of the benefits of being diligent and also one of the detriments of procrastinating. And when you get good at procrastinating, you get good at having regrets. Now, I'm not talking about the regrets, of the things we did do. Usually, most of our regrets come from the things we didn't do. We didn't go back to school. We didn't get married, or we didn't get divorced, right? We didn't move from this state or move to this state, right? We didn't go take that job, or we didn't leave that job. We didn't start this business, or we didn't try to start this business, or we didn't sell the business, right? So a lot of times our regret shows up in turns into resentment. And a lot of times when we don't do what we can or should do, then what ends up happening, we start putting it off. And then now we're putting ourselves in this place called living with regrets, right? And then we're not living with a lot of rewards because we can look at our life and find out we don't have a lot of rewards going on because we don't have a lot of accomplishments that happen because we haven't completed a lot of things. So what we do, some of us, we start things, but we never finish. When I ran the marathon, I only done it once. And as you're running a marathon, if you ever done it, maybe they just did it this time. Again, I only read it once, so maybe it could have been an accident they did this time. I didn't run more than one. But every time as you're running, you hear people announcing on the PA systems and everything. Runners, water station here. Runners, bathrooms there. Restrooms there, right? Runners, if you need something, medical attention here, right? So they calling you runners throughout the race. And when I crossed the finish line of that marathon, then for some reason the statement changed. It said, finishers, go get your medal over there. Finishers, you want some bananas, because bananas are good for protein, but and potassium. But finishers, go over there and get your there. They even said, hey, finishers, you can go get a beer, free beer over there, right? I ran 26 miles, I want no beer, but anywho, right? But that's what they did, right? They called you a finisher because you finished it. As long as you was running, they just called you a runner. Mile 2, you were a runner. Mile 8, you were a runner. Mile 13, you were a runner. But when you got to mile 26.2 and finished it, they called you a finisher. Now, I brought that up as an example. That's how it is in life. We have to go through life and become finishers. We have to finish things that we start. If you touch it, you want to finish it, right? You want to finish what you start. Now some things are overwhelming because here's the truth of the matter. In life, the reason why we procrastinate is 3 particular reasons that I'll go over. You may have 10, but I'm just going to share 3 that I found that happened to me and happened to other people. One group of people, or sometimes we fall into this position of wanting to be perfect. We want perfection. Everything got to be in order. All our ducks got to be lined up in a row. Everything from 1 to 100 got to be there before I even move. See, that's called perfection. And the truth of the matter is you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody on the planet is perfect. So if you're waiting on you to become perfect, waiting on the perfect time, perfect situation, the chances are it's not going to probably happen. You're going to have to move so things can get into place. Everything can't be into place when you move. It's like this. If you left your house and you say, I'm going to drive to the grocery store, whatever, right? Or drive somewhere. You're not expecting that every light you hit is going to be green, right? You know that you're going to get some red lights up there. You're going to get some yellow lights. You're going to have to stay there for a minute, so the light turn green and things of that nature, right? Well, it's the same thing in this life. A lot of times people want all the lights to be green from where they are to where they want to go. They want everything to be green before they get in the car and start moving it. Now, you would say that's ridiculous if someone did that. Like, you're not going to leave your house and yeah, I need to make sure all the lights are green before I leave my house. That person will never leave their house. And that's how it is in life. So a lot of us never do anything because we wait on all the stuff to be perfect first. Everything got to be perfect. Everybody got to be perfect. Every situation got to be perfect. Then I'm going to move. Well, so you never leave the house. In other words, you never expand your life. You never end up being an accomplishing individual because you always waiting on everything to be perfect. Instead of just moving and doing what you can do now, doing what you should do now, and not waiting on the perfect time to do anything. Just do it, when you have the chance to do it, which is today. Now do it. That's what you want to look at. So you want to try to get rid of this mentality of everything got to be perfect before I do anything. I can't go out there and start my business until I have everything perfect, until I have all the right attorneys and all the right accountants and all the right locations and all these different things. It just does not work like that in this thing called life. In life, you're going to have to move some, and then you move an inch, and then something else get into place, and you got to make a left turn, then you find something else over here on this side. That's just how life goes. But if you never come out the house, you can talk all you want about all the stuff you want to accomplish, and you're not going to accomplish anything if you don't start moving, meaning doing what you can do and doing what you should do at this particular moment. The second reason that we procrastinate is because sometimes we become overwhelmed. We have maybe, you have all these great ideas. You got all these things you want to do. And then when you start putting it together, you're overwhelmed because there's so much that you have to do. So now that just stops you because you say, hey, you know what? It's like an avalanche of stuff I have to do. And, so I'm not going to do anything at all. So now you won't leave the house either because I can't get out the house because, all this stuff I got to do. I got to do all this stuff. And, I got to do stuff for my mama, my daddy, my husband, my wife, my sister, my brother, my son, my daughter, the people next door, the people on the side across the street. So you start getting overwhelmed. So now that paralyzes a lot of us as well. Right. So what you have to realize is that you have to start doing what you can because you can't do it all at one point. Now, even though I said when you touch something, you want to finish it, sometimes touching something and finish it takes 4 years. For an example, as a degree, sometimes touching it and finish it may take you 18 months. Sometimes touching it and finish it might take you 7 years. You just have to touch it often so you can move often, move a little, because it's just going to take you a while to get to that particular place. That doesn't mean that it's bad that it's going to take you 5 years to get there. But if you don't get started, then you'll never get there even in 5 years, because 5 years are going to pass, especially if you're alive. Your 5 years are going to pass whether you do anything or do a whole bunch of stuff. 5 years is still going to pass, right? So you might as well go and do what you can do and what you should do now, because the 5 year period is going to show up anyhow, right? So you want to kind of get your life moving and start getting your life moving as quickly as you can and as often as you can. Now, the third reason, and this is where a lot of us probably just be real honest. You might say, well, I'm not the perfection person. And no, I mean, I don't usually get overwhelmed, but this is what we procrastinate too. It's because there's a lot of stuff we just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Why don't you cut the grass? I don't want to cut the grass, right? Why don't you go to the gym and work out? I don't want to work out, right? I just don't want to do it. Hey, why don't you, go out there and do these things for yourself? Go start investing in stocks and bonds. I don't want to do that. I want to spend my money on something else, right? So those are some of the things that help us procrastinate too. We just don't want to do it. And that's not saying that you're bad or that you're wrong or something wrong with you because you don't want to do some things. Hey, in life, there's a whole lot of stuff that we have going on that we don't want to do, right? I mean, if you ever have to try to lose 5 pounds, 50 pounds, it takes work to do that, right? And I'd rather sit here on the couch and just, punch buttons and speak to my television or whatever and have things work out for me, right? I don't want to go run around the block 10 times. I don't want to do 15 push-ups. I don't want to do all that, but I do want a nice physique. I just don't want to do the work. So a lot of times you have to realize that's when we're fooling ourselves. That's when we walk in this thing called self-denial, and self-disillusion because of the fact that we think that we want to talk about what we want, but we don't want to do the work to get what we want. And this is how we stop procrastinating, because it's always something that you can do. You may not be able to do everything right now. You may not be able to do everything this week. You may not be able to do everything this month. But there's always something that you can do now. Always. Now, when you're asleep, don't be trying to work while you're asleep. Just go to sleep, right? Enjoy your time with your eyes closed, snoring, and doing all whatever you do while you're asleep, right? However, when you wake up, there's always something that you can do. Now, I shared with you in the last session that for me, I have to use lists. I have to make me a list and try to do this on a daily basis. Now, you may not be able to start right there, and that's not saying you can't. I've been doing this for a while, so I don't want to mislead anybody thinking that, oh, yeah, just wake up tomorrow and just make this list of 10 things you got to do, and you just go at it. Yeah, that's how you had start, but it's almost like exercising. If you haven't exercised in a while, and then you just jump out there and start exercising, you might have a heart attack, right? Because you haven't done it in 5, 10, 15 years. So you just kind of move slow, right? Or move at your pace, or move at a pace that's just comfortable for you. And you might say, every Monday I'm going to make a list, or every weekend I'm going to make a list, right? And I'm just going to work off that list. You may not get all 10 things done, 5 things, 18 things, but you can do something to get something done today. And when you do that, what you have just done, you added to your life something called an accomplishment. You have an accomplishment in your life because today you went out to walk around the block twice. Did you walk around the block twice? Yeah, that's something that you accomplished. You started it, and you finished it. You put your hands on it, you touched it, and then you finished what you set out to do for that particular day, right? Or for that particular week or that particular month. This is how you start building more confidence in what you're doing. And now what happens is you start conquering procrastination more because you have to progress. Now, see, again, I said something in session 2 once that, the thing that holds up procrastination is something called excuses. If you want procrastination to stay standing up in your life, just get good at making excuses. But if you want procrastination to become close to non-existent in your life, then you're going to have to get good at telling yourself the truth, right? You got to look in the mirror and say, listen, you in the mirror. Yeah, I see you. You're going to stop robbing me of my life. I'm not going to allow you to rob me of my future things that I want to get. I'm not going to let you actually have me become an enemy to progress. I'm not going to have you help me become an enemy to accomplishment. See, that's what you have to tell that person in the mirror. And sometimes we don't want to that tough talk. We don't want to do that to ourselves because sometimes we like fooling ourselves. Yeah, just keep talking about it. Just keep praying on it. You do nothing. Just keep that. Just let everything else just fall into place. No, usually when things fall, they break, right? So we're not trying to break our lives up. We're trying to actually build our lives up, and we can't do that if we procrastinate on doing what we can do and what we should do at this particular moment. So you have to realize that you can either live with the regrets of not doing what you can and should, or you can live with the rewards of doing what you can and should. See, nobody ever make an excuse for how they succeeded in anything. I've never heard a person make an excuse on if they got a new job or if they opened up a new business. They never made an excuse about it. Man, it's my mama's fault. See what happened. See. What happened was no. We don't make excuses for success. We make excuses for our failures, and really, we make excuses for our procrastination. And so that's why you don't want to get good at procrastination, because that also shows that you're very good at making excuses, right? So those are those 3 things I share with you. Perfection, right? We want to try to be perfect in everything. Everything got to be lined up, right? But you don't want to do that. Just get moving. See, you start some days and sometime in life, and this is what hurts a lot of people. Here's a perfect example. When you're 25 years old and it's just you have no husband, no wife, no boyfriend, no girlfriend, no son, no daughter. You have nothing, nobody responsible for you, and you're not responsible for anyone, right? You can do some things that maybe a person over here that have 3 kids, and the kids are 10, 8, and 6, and they got, I can take their money and spend it on tuition. But you 25, yeah, you can travel the world. You go anywhere you want to go, right? But you said, well, I really need to be saving money, investing money, but you don't invest any money. Now, 10 years later, you're 35, you got 3 children, you say, I don't have any money saved. Now, the reason why is because of the fact you could do it at that time when you was 25, but you didn't do it at that time when you was 25. And then 10 years later, you got this husband, wife, and 3 children and 2 dogs. You understand what I'm saying? And now you can't get these things together because of the fact that it's always something that you can do to make sure you have a better tomorrow. Now, here's something somebody may say. Hey, man, you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. That's true. You don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. But you don't know if you're not going to be here tomorrow either. Right? So you may say, well, I don't know if I'm going to be here next year. That's true. But you don't know if you're not going to be here next year, right? So if you're here next year, don't you want to achieve something in the next 12 months, this month, this week, today? That's how you should look at life. Yeah, life is short. I'll be the first to say that. Life is not long. None of us going to be here forever, right? We all got a time expiration date on us. You have one, I have one too. However, none of us know when that expiration date is. So my thing is work like you might be here another year, another 5 years, another 10 years. Set you some goals, work towards some things. Conquer procrastination. Move your life towards something. Now, if you check out before the 5 years is gone, 10 years is gone, or the year's up, if you have to leave the planet before the end, it's okay. Don't worry about all that stuff you got to do 10 years from now, right? It won't mean anything then. However, if you should happen to be here for that long, it's good to look in your life stadium, so to speak, and see all those accomplishments that you have that's in the stands. Because every accomplishment that you have that's in the stands is cheering you on. It's cheering you on, saying, yay, yay. Even, remember me, you the greatest, you this, that, right? Because of the fact that you accomplished something. So we want to get good at moving our life forward, because if we're not moving our life forward, the reality is we're moving our life backwards. And see, this is what happens with people when they procrastinate a lot. Procrastination is almost like a sneaky, insidious disease, right? And here's some of the conversation that go along with procrastination. I am okay personally, before I say this, I'm okay with reminiscing, so to speak, and thinking about some of the things you achieved in your yesterday. That's wonderful. It's always good to look back at yesterday, because hopefully it can give you a boost for your today. And here's an example for you. When I first got introduced to some form of business, I was only about 21 years old. Young guy, didn't have any idea what business was, didn't have any role models in regards to like my family. All my family members pretty much worked jobs. So, I didn't know how a business worked or what a business really was per se. So I got introduced to it. So I had all this doubt, like, man, I wonder, can I do it, man? I wonder, can I do it? Because I had no point of reference saying, oh, yeah, my uncle did it, or my mama did it, my daddy did it, my cousin did it. I didn't have that point of reference, right? Not that anybody was bad. I just didn't have that. So what I had to do, I had to, because my school life, going through grade school and high school, I didn't do well in grade school and high school. I did pretty much terrible, right? I was there, but I didn't do nothing while I was there. I was, I barely passed, right? And that was like, and I mean that, barely passed, right? So if I told people, you trying to cheat off my test, man, I'll probably slap you. Like, what you doing? Why would you do something like that? Right? Not because I got the right answers. You're going to end up failing. You look at my test, because I'm going to fail because I don't know the answers either, right? So I didn't do well in that time. But when I was around 21, I'm trying to think about, okay, I want to get into business. I want to do some things. And so what I was pretty decent at, pretty good at when I was a young guy, I was pretty good at baseball. So that was my point of reference to say, you know what, if you learn how to play baseball and you did pretty good at that, made all-star teams and all that stuff as a young guy, hey, man, you can learn how to do this too, right? So that's what helped me get past this feeling overwhelmed that maybe I couldn't do it, right? Yeah, this has something to do with confidence. We're not talking about that. We're talking about that in another session, another series. But that's something that I had a point of reference. So I had to go back until when I was 12 years old. Yeah, I did this well. Whereas I got better at some things and got more success and got some more achievements and accomplishments in some areas, I didn't really have to go back to 12 years old anymore. Now, I said all that to say this, that after a while, when you start becoming good at accomplishment, then your conversation, you appreciate what you've done, but you are focused on what you're doing and what you can do and what you will have. You have a different focus. But when people procrastinate a lot, what they always do, they spend so much time reminiscing about yesterday. You see them on Monday, they talking about, man, you should have seen me back in 1989. Okay, that's wonderful. You see them on Tuesday, they said, but I was really something else in 1985, right? You see them again, said, but you should have seen me around 1992, right? It's like, man, that's 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Nothing wrong with that, but their conversation never move up to the present time, and it never move beyond into the future time, because they're always thinking about doing a bunch of nothing. And if you're doing a bunch of nothing or thinking about doing a bunch of nothing, it's kind of hard to have a bunch of something that's good, right? You're going to have a bunch of something, all right. And it's probably going to be a bunch of regrets. Why didn't you take care of your health? You could have took a vitamin. Yeah, you could have took a vitamin once a day or whatever for the last 20 years, but why didn't you do it? You kept putting it off, and then when the doctor say, man, your life, man, your heart not acting right, your lungs all messed up, man, look at you. You don't look like you know what you're doing here. Your health, your body's all messed up. Then all of a sudden you want to try to get all in shape, right? You want to give me a vitamin. Well, I mean, I'm not saying the vitamin won't work, but man, you got 30 years of damage here, of procrastination going on. So you can't cure this in one day. And this is what happens to a lot of people, because now we're going to do things in record-breaking time. So a lot of people say, hey, man, you just don't understand. I work real good under pressure. You give me something to work real good under pressure, man, I kick butt, man, when it comes to that. I work real good under pressure. And you know what? That may be the case. You may work good under pressure, but usually when we're working good under pressure, it's because we procrastinated with all the other time we had. It's like when you was in school and they give you a syllabus and they say, hey, you got to do this. You got to write this term paper, thus and so, right? And you know that at the beginning of the semester. Now, most of us, I know I wasn't in this group, jump on it right there. The next, walk out of class and everything. I'm going to start on these papers. Oh, no. Because you know what I said? Man, I got plenty of time. I got time, man. What's it start? It's August? Well, I need that. December? Man, what? I start counting. Man, 4 or 5 months. And this is what we normally do. And then a week before, you got to get this stuff done. Now you stressing yourself out, trying to get this stuff done because now an emergency has taken place. You better get it done. The doctor told you better get your life together, get your health together. You're going to die, right? All of a sudden, now you want to start walking around the track, right? You want to walk around the block. Now you want to go to the gym. But see, what we need to do, we have to start setting, quote unquote, emergencies on ourselves by now doing things that we can do and by doing now what we should do. Now do it, right? We want to get to that place because when we get to that place, now we can move our life forward and we're not making as many excuses because you can't make excuses and progress at the same time. Either you're making progress and you're not making excuses, or you're making excuses and you're not making progress. Now you have to decide which one of these you want in your life. Do you want to make progress in your finances? Yeah. Well, that means you got to stop making excuses about what you're doing as far as not being diligent in your finances. You want to make progress in your spiritual life? Yeah. Then you're going to have to stop making excuses about those things in your spiritual life. Okay. You want to make progress in your relationships? Yeah. You're going to have to stop making excuses about the things you need to do for your relationships. You want to make progress in your health? Yeah. Well, you got to stop making excuses. You want to get promoted on your job? Open up a business? Yeah. You got to stop making excuses if you want to progress in those areas. And if you're not progressing in any area, it does not mean that you are a bad person. It does not mean that people that live where you are bad people. It does not mean that people that's your gender are bad people. It does not mean any of that. All it means, if we're not progressing in any area of our life, that means that we are procrastinating. We aren't being diligent by doing the things now that we can do, and by not doing the things now that we should do. And because of that, that's why we're not progressing. That's why we haven't lost the weight or gained the weight. That's why we haven't opened up the investment account. That's why we haven't done these things. Not because we're bad, not because we don't have any money. We just haven't called the financial planner and say, hey, I'm ready to open up that financial account. We just haven't called the fitness trainer and say, okay, I think I can meet you once a week. We just haven't done it. But we can call, we can email, we can text. Why didn't we do it? Because we put it off. I'll do it later. I'll procrastinate later. So this is what has to happen. Accomplishments or accomplishing must become a major thing in your life. There should be things that you want to complete. You can't go through life, well, you can. You shouldn't want to go through life with all these half circles. Starting something, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Nothing is ever complete. That is not a life that you look at and start smiling like, oh, I'm so glad I got all these half circles. Oh, I started that. I started this. I started that. Didn't finish anything, but I started everything. Oh, and some of us, we get so good, we never start anything, right? We just talk about it. I said, man, you've been talking about that stuff for 10, 20 years. When you going to get started? Well, you got to see. Well, I need the sun to be out and the temperature got to be about 99 degrees before I do anything. 99 degrees? Yeah, so that means I can't do nothing now. It's December. Right? I got to wait. I got to wait till like July. Well, no, you don't have to wait till July. You can do something about that today, right? You can do something in your today. Because this is what ends up happening, right? If we get very good at procrastinating and we're doing this so good and doing this so well, what end up happening is that you're gonna have a stalled life. And a stalled life is a stale life. And anything stale, I don't know how many of us get excited about having stale food or stale potato chips. You ever eat some stale chips? They be your favorite chips, but they stale, man. You throwing them in the garbage. They don't crunch. You're like, man, oh man, they don't taste good. This is what happens when we get good at procrastinating, right? Our life, we stall. Our life stops. We got to stall life, and it just stops. We stay right there. Life just passing us by, right? I'm not saying people, because some people try to compare themselves to people like he passed me by, she passed me by. No, when you are stationary and you standing still, and when you can walk, you won't walk. When you can run, you won't run. When you can move forward, you won't. Then life is passing you by. And when life is passing you by, now you start having all these regrets because you have all these half circles, all these starts and stops, and you can't even look at your life and say, I finished that. I completed that. I did that. And again, it doesn't have to be anything grandiose. You don't have to actually get a degree every week. You don't have to get a degree every year. You don't have to get a degree every 4 years. It can be something else. You might have read a book. You started it and you finished it. Now, this is what started helping me start conquering procrastination years ago. When I touched it, I tried to finish whatever I set out to do about it, right? So I started with things like books. You know what? I can't read no whole 200-page book. That's what I would tell myself back in the day, which was not true, but that's what I would say. But you know what? Maybe I can read a chapter. But man, look, it's 20 chapters in the book. Man, it's going to take you a whole month to read this 20 chapters. Hey, man, that's just where I am today, right? And then sometimes it's like, you know what? Maybe I just read 5 paragraphs. Read 5 paragraphs. What I'm set out to do, read 5 paragraphs. That's how I started a reading habit years ago. I just wanted to read 30 minutes, right? That's it. After 30 minutes, man, I am out of here. If it's 3 pages I read or 10 pages, it does not matter. Once I got to my 30 minutes, I was done. At first, it was hard to do the 30 minutes. So I had to break it down to 15 minutes. And then I took it up to 30 minutes. Now I read quite a bit today, but that's not where it started, right? And then that's what helped me. I said, I'm going to start something, finish it. You know what I'm saying? Do something with a glass of water, a bottle of water. You ever have a party or some type of situation going on? You have a bunch of people at your house, cookout or whatever, and then you start cleaning up and everything. You got a bunch of empty, half drinked out water bottles, soda cans, half drinked out, right? You're like, why didn't they finish this? So you don't know who's, right? Because you got half a water bottle over there, half over there. Just how people's life look. They got all this half water bottles, half empty. They never finished it. They opened it up. They started, but they did not finish. They didn't complete it. Well, you don't want your life looking like that, because you know what you do with a half water bottle? You throw it away, right? Oh, man. And you feel like something was wasted. Like, man, 25 people over here, and I got 55 bottles over here that's half empty, right? Why? Because, you feel like now it's just wasted. Why did they even open it up and didn't finish it, right? And then when you get started, you got to finish. That's how you got to look at life, right? If you want to conquer procrastination, start it, finish it. Hey, you might say, you know what? You might read an article on the internet, article somewhere, and you said, man, this article is not that exciting, right? It may only be 5 paragraphs. Say, you know what? I started it. I'm going to finish, right? You might say, hey, you know what? I really don't feel like doing all that exercise. Well, can you do like 10 jumping jacks? Yeah. Just start the 10 jumping jacks and just get to 10. Once you get to 10, and if you got to take a little break, 1, 2, let me take a break. Then you got to take, 3, 4, let me take another break. Just get to 10. Just start and finish. That's all it is to do. That's the focus that you need to have if you want to be an accomplisher. If you want to actually have your life move forward and progress, those are the things you have to do. And that's now you feel better because you're moving your life. You are in charge of moving your life. No one can move your life for you. And the truth of the matter is nobody really can stop your life either. What happens is most of us stopped our own progress. We stop our own success. We stop our own accomplishments. We stop our own achievements. We stop ourselves because we get good at procrastinating. But once you get good at progressing, once you get good at being diligent, now you'll find out nothing will stop you. And the only thing that can stop you is you. And, by not doing the things you can do and should do now. And once you get to that place, you put yourself in a different position, a better position to actually do better in your life and conquer procrastination at the same time. So here's the question I need to ask you. What have you done lately? What have you done like lately? Yeah, it's good that you're talking about what you did in your 30s. You're 60 now. It's good you're talking about what you did when you was 15. You're 30 now. Come on, what have you done lately? I just told you that a stalled life is a stale life. So if you had some vegetables, right? Let's say some broccoli, right? You got some vegetables and you had some vegetables in your refrigerator that's been there a month, right? But then you had some vegetables that's fresh. I just brought you today. My question to you is, which ones would you prefer eating? The ones that's fresh, or would you want to eat the ones that's been there in the refrigerator for a month? Now, most people say, hey, I want the ones that's fresh. Why? Now, it's not saying that the old broccoli is not good. You know, it's still broccoli, but some of the nutrients have left it because it's stalled, it's stale. It's not as potent as it can be as being the fresh broccoli. Well, that's how life is. When you start achieving things, then it adds a freshness to your life. It's like fresh food, fresh flowers. They smell better than old flowers. I don't care what people say. Well, but they look pretty, but they old, right? I mean, I want some fresh ones. Well, that's how accomplishments are. When you start moving your life forward, you have this freshness over your life because you're always achieving things. And then people come to you and say, man, what you doing now? Man, you doing that too? Hey, lady, what you doing now? You accomplished that too? And it looks like you are being so busy. It looks like you doing all these things, but all you're doing are doing the things that you can do and doing the things that you should do now. That's it. You making sure that you won't have a stale life or a stalled life because you're moving your life because you're doing the things you can do. I shared with you in the first series that there's a poem, and I quoted again, said, if I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Have you ever heard of them? They live on the corner of Maybe Street in a house that never was. The halls were empty, the rooms were too, filled with empty dreams and promises that never came true. That's what procrastination have you do. I lived on what I call could have avenue. I lived on what I call would have avenue, should have avenue. And every time I built my house and lived in that house, when I look back at it, I had some regrets because I could have done some things. I should have done some things, but I didn't do those things. So I had to have the regrets of not what I did do, but the things I didn't do. And that's what happens. Now you live 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 90 years with a big bag full of nothing but regrets. You know, you should have told the person yes when they asked you to marry him, but you know what you said? I'm waiting on the perfect time. Wait to get money. Wait to get so much money. Wait, hold on. Wait, I got to lose more weight. Let me go get my promotion first. And then the person leave, right? Marry somebody else or leave the planet. And then you up there. But see, I was going to ask, but see, wait, I'm just waiting till we got like $5 more in the bank. Yeah, you was waiting on the perfect time. You procrastinating. You already knew you wanted to say yes. Why didn't you do it? Because you were waiting on the perfect time. So you put it off and your perfect time never came. Now you're sitting around with regrets, hanging out at the bar. I don't know why they don't want me. I don't know. I should have told. That was a keeper. Right? All those things. But at the same time, you just didn't do what you could do or should do in the present moment. And this is what's going to help you and I conquer procrastination. If you want to progress, you want to move your life forward, you got to be a finisher. You got to finish it. You got to finish what you start. You got to start something, yes, but you got to finish what you start. And finish what you start may be different to somebody else. I'm gonna be honest with you here. Well, I'm honest all the time when I'm on these things. Here's the thing. Everybody won't celebrate what you got going on. And your little thing that you did that was good, they won't get all that excited about it. Yeah, okay, you did your 10 jumping jacks. Nobody gonna give you no parade. Yeah, you said you $50 this month. Nobody gonna say it's only $50, right? You know, you did something what someone may consider small, but you gotta keep this in mind. I'm a finisher. I start and I finish. I'm completing this thing. I'm gonna start it and I'm gonna complete it. It may take me longer. And sometime in life, just the way life is, you know, what you could do at 25, as far as you had all this extra time, you might not be able to do the same thing. It may take you a little bit longer. But if you can only move an inch today in your finances, just move the inch then. If you can only move an inch today in your spiritual life, just move the inch, right? Now, sometime in life, you have one area over here you can move by the yards, right? And this one over here, you move by the inch. You know, you crawling. Because a lot of times you just don't want to do it. And the reason being, when you haven't done things for a long period of time, then what that means is that you put yourself in a situation that you're doing a bunch of stuff that you don't want to do. And it's kind of hard to get excited about doing this week's stuff when you should have did it last month, when you should have did it last year. That's why it's hard for a lot of us to get back in school, right? It's hard for a lot of us to get back in a weight program. Why? Because it's like, man, I should have did this, man. I'm 50 years old. I should have did this back in the day, right? It's hard for people that dropped out of high school to go back. And then even though, people got programs for it, it's hard for people to go back because they say, man, I'm 42 years old now. Why go back? Why not? Why not finish it? Why not complete it? Yeah, okay, you 42 years old. So what? Get it done. Just complete it. Go ahead and be diligent and do the things you do. Now somebody would say, man, you old as you are, what you need a high school diploma for? Well, it doesn't matter. I wanted to finish what I started. I didn't finish that. So I want to start it. I want to finish that thing and get back into it and get myself back on the play. It's like I said, anytime you start something and don't finish it, you always put yourself behind and you never move past that point. You never get past that point because you got to come back and revisit it. And that's where you start. You have to start where you left off. And we can't have all these left offs all over in our lives. We can't have some areas we got to do some things good, right? And again, you may fall off the horse, right? You may fall down. Things in your life happen because a lot of things that happen in our lives that's out of our control. I'm not making any excuses. That's what happens sometime in life. Somebody you love, they pass on and have to leave the planet. You wasn't planning that. They're supposed to be here another 25 years, but they're not, right? So you got to handle that. That's a grief moment for you. And the things you were doing before that happened is a totally different thing now, right? Your children, didn't think you don't have children at this time. Now you had triplets. Now you only think you're going to have one. You got three. Things are different with three babies at one time compared to one, right? So things are different. Something may happen, as a grandparent. Now you got the grandkids. That wasn't in the plan. But some things in life, in our life, happens that's out of our control. But we can't allow those things to keep us from doing what we can do and what we should do in the present time. Because it's always something that you can do. It's always something that you should do in the present time. But when you get good at that, then you also mean that you gotten good at conquering procrastination. What I'm looking at. Oh. Okay. All right. So I'm going to promote some people, and then I'm going to do a recap. And if you want to get promoted on the show, just get in touch with me at fullerpurposemedia@gmail.com, and we can definitely talk about it. So the first person we're going to promote, if you wasn't, and you heard earlier in the show, Miss Pamela Denise. She's a real estate professional. And whether you are a first-time home buyer, an investor looking to build your portfolio, or you're purchasing your dream home, Pamela Denise at Exception Realty is who you need to call. She has 24 years of experience and a team that is ready, willing, and very capable to assist in all of your real estate needs. You will also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about Miss Pamela Denise on A Greater You show here on IntellectualRadio.com, an iHeart station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. For more information, contact Ms. Pamela Denise at 773-447-8546. That's 773-447-8546, or info, I-N-F-O, at keepitmoving.us. That's, info, I-N-F-O, at K-E-E-P as in Paul, I-T as in Tom, M-O-V as in Victor, I-N-G as in great, .us. Next person, Mr. Timothy Wright. He has a online high school program. And do you or someone you know need to obtain their high school diploma? Living Free Center can help with their online high school education process. You can attain your high school diploma for as little as $217.63. You'll also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about it here on A Greater You show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart station with your host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. For more information, you can contact Mr. Timothy Wright at one of these three phone numbers, 813-559-0014. That's 813-559-0014 or 773-499-695. I'm sorry, 773-499-6941. Again, that's 773-499-6941 or 773-531-6246. That's 773-531-6246. Or you can email livingfreecenter@outlook.com. That's livingfreecenter@outlook.com. Or you can go to www.livingfreecenter.org. That's LIVINGFREECENTER FREECENTER.org. The next person I will promote this evening is Miss Sonia Purdue, and she's an insurance professional. And her question is: Will your insurance company pay you 70 to 90% of your policy's face value if you experience a qualifying terminal, chronic, or critical illness or critical injury? If not, get started with living benefits today. Contact Ms. Sonia Purdue at 773-609-2226. Again, at 773-609-2226 or www.getstartedwithlivingbenefits.com. Again, that's getstartedwithlivingbenefits.com. You'd also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about her and her business here on the A Greater You show on Intellectual Radio and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. And the last person we'll promote this evening is Mr. Eugene Delanato. He is the uh, publisher of the Black Pages International. And exercise your power, circulate your money in Black businesses, create jobs for your children, create a healthy, happy, and wealthy community. Go to blackpagesinternational.com. Black Pages International is a directory of hundreds of Black businesses and professionals where you can locate professionals and businesses for whatever your needs are. If you are looking to support Black businesses, go to blackpagesinternational.com. Again, that's blackpagesinternational.com. There's also opportunities to advertise your business in the directory. You can contact Mr. Eugene Delanado for more information at 773-407-1470. Again, that's 773-407-1470. You'll also get a free consultation by mentioning you heard about him and his business here on a Greater You show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt. So let me do a recap. Talked about a whole lot of stuff today and throughout the series. So again, you want to make sure that you want to conquer procrastination. The word procrastination, pro means forward, procrastinate means tomorrow. So we don't want to be doing any tomorrowing. Now, again, I know that's not a word, but it sounds ridiculous, looks ridiculous when you write it. And that's how procrastination have us looking and acting. We sound ridiculous because we procrastinate and we look ridiculous when we're doing it, right? Because there's always something that we can do and should do now. You are in control to a point that you can pick up your life and you can move your life forward. No one is stopping your life from moving forward but you. And the way that you get your life moving forward is by picking it up, by doing the things now that you can do and doing the things now that you should do. And that's how you start getting your life moving forward. And when you procrastinating, what happens is, I shared with you once before, that sometimes we put these days on the calendar. I know I did. I know on the calendar is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. However, I used to always try to put some day and one day on the weekly calendar, and they don't fit. There's no such thing as a one day. There's no such thing as a someday, right? You got to start dating things. I'm doing things on Tuesday. I'm doing this on Monday. I'm doing this on Sunday. I'm doing this at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, right? You got to start doing those things so that it can help you move your life. You want to make you some lists, right? Get your list, get your notebook. You know, I share with you, I use a planner, but you don't have to get that fancy right now, right? You can just get you a notebook, and then when tomorrow show up, before tomorrow, you want to write some things that you had to do before tomorrow show up, right? Maybe 2 things, maybe 1 thing, maybe 10 things. I don't know, but you write it down, and then you try to work your life to get cross those things off your list. That's an indication that I have moved my life today. If you look at that list and you haven't crossed anything off, I guess that means you didn't move your life today. And you know what that means? You probably procrastinated today. So you want to, again, it doesn't matter how large or small the task or the item is on the list, just put something on there so you can cross it out. So you can know that, okay, I'm moving. Because you don't know if you're moving or not. You might think you're moving. If you're not getting things done, then you're not moving it, right? Because you're not accomplishing things. Because after a while, you should be accomplishing things. So this is why we need to become more diligent by doing now what we can do and doing now what we should do. We don't need an emergency to happen, right? We don't need for stuff to happen. If you got a leaky roof, you don't need for a big old rain to show up to find out that the roof is really bad, right? If it's leaking already with a little rain or something got a big old stain in the ceiling, that means something's wrong. Now that means we have to get that fixed. You don't have to wait till the whole ceiling fall in and or leaning or dipping on you and almost touch you on top of your head, and you only 4'11", right? And the ceiling almost touch you on top of your head. You want to say, I think I need to do something about that roof, that ceiling. No, you need to do something about it immediately. Why? Because it's something that you can do and something that you should do, because the longer you go not doing it, the worse it's going to get. And the longer you go over not doing the things you can or should do, the worse your life is going to get. So you got to do those things you can and should do to keep your life intact, so to speak, so that you can progress and move your life. We got to get rid of excuses, right? We can't make progress and excuses at the same time. Either if we're making a bunch of progress, I mean, we're not making any excuses. If we're making a bunch of excuses, we're not making any progress. And progress proves that accomplishments are in the midst. And accomplishments prove that progress was done. So this is why we need to get involved with that. Again, we got to have a fresh life, right? What have you done lately? You got to do something now. It's good to talk about. It's good to have things you did last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. That's wonderful. But what have you done lately? We can't have these things. Well, I ain't done nothing in 10 years. That's too long to be alive, not getting done. Too long. We should be achieving things often. Again, and whatever you achieve is big to you. So I said a whole lot. Well, yeah, I said a whole lot. So I hope you got something out of this program on conquering procrastination. Obviously, if you want to purchase the book, you can get in contact with me at Full of Purpose Media. And then the book, well, you can purchase the book, and obviously I will sign it to you and get it as possible. So as I close, as I always do, keep in mind that you have been born great. And however, you must work and continue to work on yourself so that you can become a greater you. And I'll see you next time.